I gotta let these guys know. So Marcus is watching Dragon Ball for the first time, like ever.
I mean, I caught the occasional episode coming home from school on like Toonami and stuff like that back in the 90s, but other than that,
Well, I'm excited for you.
I'm super excited. I'm enjoying it so far. It's really dope.
We got someone in the chat saying they can't enjoy the show as an adult.
You
But
can't enjoy it as an adult. How come? I'm interested because like I feel like the only way that I could enjoy it is like as an adult this time. Like since I haven't seen it before, that's the only way that I can enjoy it. I feel like if I was rewatching it, I don't think I could sit through every episode and get through it.
well, I feel like Dragon Ball is just easier to binge watch. So back in my day, like we had to wake up. It was kind of like today. It'd be but it was it Saturday or Sunday mornings on WB. It was like for us Channel 11 if you lived in New York, and yeah, you had to get up at 7 in the morning. They put on shoot, what was it? Beast Wars, and then and then 7:30 would be Dragon Ball. And mind you, like, yeah, it's 30 minutes, but it's filled with like 20 minutes of commercials. Like those episodes are short, and then you had to wait the following week to watch the next episode. I'm talking about this was way before, this stuff was on Cartoon Network. So
yeah, super short.
It was a grind. It was a grind. Just getting episodes.
Also, no spoilers, please. I'm watching it like virgin run. I've never seen it before.
Yeah. All he knows is, or if it is a spoiler, the only thing he knows is that he is future Trunks, and that's all you gotta know.
So I've been told.
All right. So this is what we're gonna do. Let me pause this real quick. All right. We're gonna start from the beginning. So, thank you guys for tuning in. We're doing the Retro 3 Classic Jams by Marcus D. We're going to be doing a listening party and kind of just picking Marcus's brain. Why these games and why these songs and what do they mean to you? So, apologies in advance for my crappy audio. Like, my mic's not the greatest, but it's not. Anyway, the point isn't really about my voice. It's about the tunes. And I'll actually start it up with this first one now. So we'll just have. So what we're gonna be doing is, let me just put this down a little bit. I feel like it's kind of overpowering me. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna go through each track one by one. And if anyone in the chat has questions, like definitely ask. We'll talk about the game and I don't know, just kind of what it means to you. Like I'm so curious, right? Like there's thousands on thousands of songs that can be selected for this project, and Retro 3 takes like some of the best video game music and it gets mixed. But in addition to that, obviously, like Marcus, he has plenty of different projects on his page, marcusc.net. Let me show you guys if you haven't seen it before. marcusc.net right here. So it's a bunch of different projects, not just retro mixes. I like how it got organized a bit up here, where all the retro stuff is up top. I feel like before it was in some kind of a chronological order.
You got to make it easy for people to go back and check out the previous stuff.
Yep. And I understand for Retro 3, there's like a CD and a cassette, right?
Right. So currently, CD and cassette only, but the CD, it's like I went really hard on Retro 2, where like I did a full actual like SNES cartridge.
Yeah.
Not cartridge, but like the box and everything. So like if you were to get a SNES game from like the 90s and open it up, like everything is there except for, instead of a cartridge, it's a CD inside. So like even a booklet, all that. So that was kind of, there you go, right on stream. So that was really like took a lot of time and energy, and this time I was like, I want to do something dope, but I don't want it to be like focused mainly on that, especially because like I still have them sitting around, and now I'm selling them for half price. So anybody who wants, one of those, they're on sale for half price what they normally are. So Retro 2, go check that out. But this time I decided to do just a CD. But the gold, like the CD is gold, and then on the outside or like the underside of the CD, where like there's unused data, where the ring is usually, like empty. There's pit art is what it's called in there, and when it reflects, you can see the characters, like the Retro 2 characters and the Retro 3 characters on there. So it's kind of like a new thing that pressing companies are doing with CDs. And I wanted to make, it's a gold CD too, so I wanted to make it at least like a deluxe kind of luxury CD if we were going to be doing anything extra.
Yeah, that's sick. Well, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Were all these picked up previously? I feel like I must have missed some of these pictures.
They just went up like 2 days ago.
Okay, that explains it.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember. I feel like some of these were up previously, like this one here and this one. But yeah, some of these. This gold CD, my first time seeing it. I'm excited, and you guys can see the names of the songs.
Yep.
So what do we have here? We got Return of Retro. Oh, whoops! I already jumped into the next song. My bad, guys. So this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to go back to the first song. Does anyone know what game that's from, by the way? Who knows? Who knows where that first one was from? It's called Return of Retro. This one. What game is it from? Who knows? Because I'm about to play it while we talk about it. But I just need to know if anyone knows first. And I read on your Discord, Marcus, that this time around you try to pick songs that were a bit less obvious, right? Like,
I tried to pick ones that were less actually obscure. So I don't know if I achieved that goal. I think I did compared to like previous projects.
yeah.
Like with 1 and 2, there was like 1 or 2 tracks on each one that was like, all right, I know that. But with this one, it was quite a few where I was like, these are pretty easy. Like, they're not like, it's not like Super Mario Overworld theme or like, the Final Fantasy intro theme or, whatever, the prelude. But it's a little more obvious. There's certain tracks that, like Dire Dire Docks, is obviously like, if you're a 90s kid, you heard that shit in your sleep. So, yeah, like, Donkey Kong Country on Retro 2 and Retro 1. We had like Sticker Bush Symphony. Secret Bosses had Aquatic Ambiance. So,
Well, I got the first game loaded up. Oshawott was the one who gets it correctly.
go.
And I gotta say, I'm super excited that you went with this for the opener, because this was one of my favorite games. It's a terrible game. Like, this,
It's a terrible game.
no human in the world will ever beat this game. I guarantee you that. But this game was really good because I love the music on this. So.
I can
Yeah. And then as soon as the game starts, like, right? But yeah, this game is a hot mess. So this was released on the SNES. It's really important to mention that this game also released on the Genesis. So it released in 1992.
Right.
So this came out in 1992 on the Super Nintendo, and then it was released for the Genesis a few months later. Gameplay-wise, in my childhood, I remember they were pretty similar, but the sound, there's a stark difference. So you were obviously inspired with by the SNES version, I'm guessing, with this, right?
Yeah, definitely. So like I never had a Genesis growing up. I feel like in middle class neighborhoods, it was always like one person had one console and then the other person had the other console, so you could go over to the other kid's house and play it, and go over to each other's houses and play it. But like my homie had like the Genesis, I had the SNES. So this had to have been one of the first games that my brother, because it was technically my brother's SNES, but technically this had to have been one of the first games that, like year-wise, that we had. And it was like, we loved it, but it was awful. Like we
I know,
we
like
replayed
I'm struggling to beat the first stage. Oh, why is that keep happening?
we replayed the first level like just over and over again. Like, this is the only level I remember other than going after this. I'd beat this one sometimes, and then I'd get to Wolverine's level, or Cyclops' level, or Gambit's level, which is fucking impossible, or Storm's level, which is even more fucking impossible. So like, I only ever saw the first version of each character's level, and it was only for like the first couple seconds, and then I'd die. But I remember Spider-Man's second level with the Shocker.
Yep. Yeah. Oh shoot.
But other than that, yeah, like this first level is literally like this game for me. And the background looks like Contra 3.
Yep. Yeah. I was just thinking that. Like in my childhood, I wasn't thinking about it, but now, like while I missed this little web swing, I was like, man, this background very familiar.
Yeah. And I always preferred, like, I prefer the Super Nintendo's game sound chip to the Genesis. Just because, like, I really think the only thing that's better on the Genesis sound chip is Sonic. Like, Sonic is it's kind of its own thing, though. I'm interested to hear what it would be like if it was on Super Nintendo. I don't think it'd be as good, but the Genesis is just really harsh. It's kind of like if you're into synthesizers, it'd be like comparing Roland to like Korg. Korg is really dark and like harsh. I actually really like Korg, but Roland has like those, the soft, beefy, like kind of analog sound that everybody's used to. So yeah, this game was definitely a huge part of my childhood. Played over and over and over again, but not in like a good way.
Yeah, I mean, I got a few comments I can also make on the game. So I had to look up who the composers were, and it was the what is it, Jeff and Tim Fallon, the Fallon brothers.
The Fallon brothers.
And this game had, as Base mentioned, a pretty rough production schedule. Man, I swear, I had this whole thing memorized. I should have practiced this before the stream. But yeah, like I grew up in a house with 3 other brothers. Well, one was way too young; he was like a baby. So really, like 2 older brothers, and so we specialized in certain stages. So I was the Cyclops dude. My brother was the Gambit dude. My other brother, like, he wasn't even good at games, but for some reason he was really good at the Storm stage. And then collectively between the 3 of us, and we wouldn't turn off the game. There's no save state. So when you got tired, you just pause the game, and it eventually dims itself, but the music still plays. Like, that's how much I still remember. They knew what they were doing with the music, So like the music still plays.
Yeah.
And but yeah, like we would still never beat the game. Never, ever in my life have I beaten this. But I've beaten like Cyclops 1, Gambit 1, not Gambit 2. Gambit 2 should be the final stage of the game. I never beat Wolverine 2. I beat Storm 1, Storm 2. Actually, I beat Gambit 2, but I needed a save state. Anyway, I'm never gonna beat this. Maybe we can move into the next track, but
yeah. But like, just on closing, these, like, the Fallen brothers were like on some other shit, because there was some, like, I mean, shout out to Riz, because like, if you wouldn't have said something about like, you gotta do something from Arcade's Revenge, I probably wouldn't have done it. But like, I hadn't gone back to the soundtrack in a long time, but then when I opened it and I heard that guitar riff, I was like, oh, what? Like, nobody's flipped this yet? And obviously not, because, this thing is not, it's not something people would flip. I swear, like, there's only a few people in the world that'd be like, oh, yeah, that shit would be like a dope, beat. But because of Riz, I was like, I went back and listened to it, and they're like at the end of Spider-Man's first level, or whatever, it might be second. Look, yeah, they throw in the Spider-Man little riff, but then like at the end, there's like it's like a break. It's like a prog rock break, like shit that you would find on like $100 prog rock record is sitting on a Super Nintendo game, where it's like, that's why I love this shit so much, because like the music that was made, is obviously just inspired by earlier music, and we just kind of recreate and reappropriate, other music like over and over and over again. And this one to me was just like, those guys were super inspired by late 70s, early 80s, like prog rock, kind of jazz funk stuff, and that's what I look for when I'm digging for records. So like this track was dope. I wanted to flip a different one, and I had it loaded up, but I was like, for time's sake,
No, you definitely picked a good one. I mean, the intro, like, you turn on the game, you get the little, LJN, and then it just goes straight into the guitar. Like that is like the best intro.
Right.
So, nah, you definitely got the right one on this, and I'm honored that you selected this game to be the opener to Retro. So,
yeah, man.
Sorry, guys, I couldn't beat the first stage. I'll just chalk it up to. This is a little hard on a fight stick.
Playing on fight stick.
Yeah. I didn't feel like going between my Super Nintendo controller and fight stick. So
I feel you.
That is the first game that we have. Now the next one, pretty interesting one as well. I think everyone, or not everyone, but I think some people will be able to know where this is from. Who knows? Who's got this one? Here, I guess I'll give it away. You guys know now, it's right there.
Oh, nice. Wow.
So, just to share, like, I'm not going to be playing all 12 games, so I did pull footage, and, I'll give credit to, like, the YouTubers for it. So I pulled just some footage of the game. Wow. This is on the Nintendo 64, of course. And it's a Snowboard Kids, released in 1997 by Atlas. Man, N64, they were pumping out a lot of good, like, racing games. Well, I mean, a lot of good games in every category. But yeah, I just felt like at this time there were a bunch of snowboarding games and skating games and racing games, like, so.
1080. I played 1080 a bunch.
Oh yeah, 1080 snowboarding. Still 180, 360. Still fish or whatever. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even remember that till you just said it.
Yeah, 180, 180. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to get a 1080. I don't want 10 180s. Let me get that. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe you want to talk on this one. How did you get?
Yeah, so this one, my honesty, when I was pretty young, so 1997. When did the N64 come out? Would have been like 96.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this was one of the earlier titles.
Yeah, this was one of the first ones. So like, honestly bought like the N64 when it first came out, and I remember going over to the house and playing Super Mario 64 and just being like, holy fucking shit, like I can't believe like what you can do in this game. Like, like basically open world for that time.
Yep.
And like being 3D, like everything was just like, it was crazy. Blew my mind as a kid. And she had Super Mario 64, and then I think like shortly after that she had Snowboard Kids, and that, I played that one a little bit, or quite a lot, but like not as much as Super Mario 64. But every time I went over there, I played that and Snowboard Kids. And I remember the Board Shop song. Like every time I went to buy like the Alpine or Freestyle board or whatever, the Board Shop song was like, what stuck in my head for some reason. And I think like I was listening to a Nintendo 64 relaxing BGM YouTube video, and Snowboard Kids, the Board Shop track came on. I was like, holy shit, dude. And it kind of just unlocked like a little memory bank in my head. And yeah, I was like, I gotta do something with this. So it's a loop, but I played piano over it because I wanted to put my spin on it, and I really like it. I'm a big fan of like just that one, the texture of the track from the N64, and what they did with it was really cool. I wanted to use like the whole thing where it like kind of loops and then goes back into the original part that I use, but sometimes you gotta limit yourself, and be like, not everybody loves everything about the track, so it's more about what you want to do with it than what it is, because not everybody has, most people don't have the same memories that you have with these songs, so you gotta be careful about like what you're picking and what you decide to use and how you use.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's crazy how like the first jingle of a song or the first part of the tune just jumps out at you and reminds you of just all this stuff that you grew up on. So I'm guessing like even though this game had a sequel, like this is the one that really stuck with you. And by the way, I looked it up. Yeah, N64 was September 1996.
Word.
So,
yeah, man, what a year.
What was your multiplayer racing go-to on the N64? Like there were just so many options. Like what was your go-to? Just curious, between you and anyone in the chat, like what do you guys rock with? I see a couple of people in the chat.
Mario Kart.
Yeah, I see a couple of people in the chat saying that Wave Race is tight. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, Wave Race is dope. I think like the racing game that I played the most had to be Diddy Kong Racing first, and then Mario Kart second, I think, because Mario Kart was more expensive. Like it was harder to get or something. I remember I didn't have it at first, but my auntie had it, so I played at her house.
Yeah, actually, with F-Zero, this is on the Super Nintendo, I had to play it at my grandfather's house.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a Super Nintendo, we didn't have it. I discovered it at his house. I was like, this game is mind-blowing. I just remember it because they lived a few blocks from us, like walking distance, and we went there one night, and it's like, oh, you guys got a Super Nintendo too? I played it, and saw F-Zero for the first time. I was like, holy crap, it's crazy. But yeah, on the N64, for me, racing-wise, it was definitely Mario Kart 64. At this point, that other brother that I told you about, he was old enough to be good. So between the four of us, we all specialized in our own tracks. Like I was like, all right, Rainbow Road. Everyone needed to know how to do that. Did this game have shortcuts or crazy tech? Like I'm not as familiar with Snowboard Kids.
Dude, like watching this level, it hit like another memory bank. That big penguin.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy, man. Memory, man. Your brain is a crazy thing. Nostalgia is a crazy thing, and I feel like that's why I keep getting sucked into doing retro stuff.
Yeah, because I feel like at one point you're like, yeah, this is it for Retro, and yeah, you launch a lot of different projects after Retro 2, right? So
yeah, I was done at Retro 2. I was like, I'm over this shit, because like the merch people, man. Yeah, long story short, like Retro 2, the merch people pressing the CDs, they wouldn't accept the fact that this was like, quote unquote original music. And one of the guys, the pre-press guy, why are all pre-press dudes assholes? I'm dealing with another guy right now for Retro 3.
They're trying to get pressed. Yo, let me know. We get the whole Ginyu force on them.
Super asshole, man. And like, so for Retro 2, this guy said these aren't even actual songs. They're just re-recorded versions of video game songs. I was like, bro, like let me just tell the whole hip-hop community that they're not actually making music. They're just re-recording hits from the 70s and 80s. All right, see how well that goes over for your job. But he was pressing me out about it, and then so I had to press. This was just for the CDs, right? Like I had to do boxes somewhere else. So I had CDs, the discs done at one place, the jackets done at another place, and then the boxes done at another place, and then sent to another place to all be assembled. And at that point, I was like, "Fuck this shit, man! Like I'm done." And
Yeah, production
this time I
seems.
just did CDs.
The production for that seems like too many moving parts, and it's hard to
Yeah.
yeah, no, that makes sense. That's rough. I
And
mean,
as an independent dude, like it's not. I don't have people working for me, like like my mom does, like shipping stuff for me sometimes, and that's as far as it goes. Is somebody else helping me? Otherwise, it's all me. So it's not easy to like be answering all the emails, like making the music, mixing it, sending it off to mastering, getting all the like visual art that needs to be done and stuff. Like shout out to Gray Ninja.
Yep.
He did number 2 and 3. So yeah, man, it's just a lot of work, and it's like I really only like doing the music. I like the art too. I like everything that's art wise. That's all my concepts, and I describe it to for the artists and everything, and come up with it. But I don't love that like I love the music. So it's work, man. Outside of making the music, it's just work. So.
yeah, I mean, a part of the job is the fun part, which is the creation part, right? Like you just want to make music, and you want people to feel what you're feeling from it, and then the other part is like
Exactly.
the side that's not as fun. But for anyone that's streaming or creates content, like all the music that Marcus creates, including these, are, I always say, run DMC. They're DMCA free, so you can definitely use them on your own streams and videos. I mean, that's pretty much like all the music that we use here on this stream. So now, I'll have a chance to update my playlist with these 12 new tracks. But
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Bass Virtuos said, business side is the worst. You just want to get your shit out. It's exactly right. Like, I could not give a fuck less about, everything that goes with content creation. I hate that fucking phrase. Like, it's so whack to me. Like, I mean, we're talking about people's like livelihood as far as like where does the artistry stop, and then where does like the algorithm corporate machine start on the other end. Like it's become more apparent lately where social media sites are just holding your fans hostage until you play with the algorithm nicely, and it takes so much work, and it's like energy, and it's like up to this point in history has had to be like this present and kind of omnipotent and omnipresent with promoting themselves, where like you got to do everything.
yeah,
And if you're not
it's
doing
crazy.
everything, you're kind of you're left out in the cold as far as the algorithm is concerned.
Because you have to conform to not the way that you want to do stuff, or not the way that you think. You have to follow that. No, I agree, and I get it, and stuff happens with the stuff that I'm doing too, where I feel like the reach is just not where I want it to be at all. Even though, like, obviously all the stuff that I'm doing is hobby. Like for you, this is completely different. This is your a big chunk of your life, and it sucks that we fall prey to the way that these things need to be
you
done.
work hard, man. Like you work super hard. Like as far as like calling it a hobby, you put in work that is like equal to a full-time job, which is crazy that like anybody could make you even think or feel like it's just a hobby, because like the time and effort that you put in, that's a full-time job, man.
Yeah,
like I know people who don't work a quarter as fucking hard as you do with their full-time job. So like it's not about how much effort or work is being put in. It's literally just about what's recognized as a hobby or a job or whatever. But the lines are blurred these days. So yeah, you're doing it, man. So
Well, appreciate that, respect that, and I think that's motivating. For me and hopefully for others that want to just take off with their personal projects and show it to the world. Any last words on Welcome Back?
I love Snowboard Kids. I love the N64. Like that sound chip is just really, really cool to me. Very nostalgic. Like I think N64 is probably my second favorite system after the SNES.
That was one of the questions. That was one of the questions I was going to ask you at some point today. Was like, but not like that. I was going to ask you, by generation. So like at this point, I guess this will be the last topic. We'll move to the next one. But so at this time when it was the N64, I guess the competition would be the PlayStation 1 and the Dreamcast, right? So out of those three, which was the one for you? I feel like I know the answer, but which was the one for you?
It's weird, man, because like if we're going strictly off games, I would say the PlayStation.
Oh,
but if we're going if we're going off music and games together, I would say N64. Like the PlayStation had so many of the RPGs and JRPGs that I love, and it felt like there was a lot of stuff on the PlayStation that was that you could like dig up, right? That like nobody knew about. Where like it'd be weird RPGs like Azure, to like Chocobo Racing or like Chocobo's Dungeon, or like just some out of left field stuff that nobody knew about. But kind of everybody knew about everything on N64. I'm not sure why that is, but I loved finding the weird stuff that nobody knew about on PlayStation. That was my favorite part.
Yeah, I expected you to say Nintendo 64. Just because like I feel like you're big on the Nintendo side of things, and just like hearing you talk about, well, so far our first two games were Nintendo based, but no, that's cool because you're also big into the RPGs, and definitely PlayStation kind of owned that side of things. Maybe the Dreamcast, what did they have? They had Shenmue, and the fighting game ports were pretty alright, and
Dreamcast was. It's weird. I don't know why, but Sega just wasn't like a big thing in my family for some reason. I don't think I ever. Did I ever own this? No, I never owned a Sega system.
Oh wow.
That must be why. Like, yeah, that's why. Like a lot of people are like, yo, like how come you didn't do any like this or that? Like I don't have like the nostalgia memories to go with it that make me be like, yeah, I'm gonna spend time on that.
Well, we just jumped into our next track here, so I'll give you guys a bit of a teaser. This game only released in Japan, so if anyone knows where it's from, I'll be very impressed, because I also did not know. This track is called Antihero or Antihero, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It was published by Bandai, so I think now I'm kind of narrowing things down a little bit. And but released in 1999, so I think it was maybe one of the last Super Nintendo games to ever come out. And yeah, Oshawott got it. Oshawott knows everything.
Very nice guess.
Yeah. So.
Or probably not even a guess. You'd have to know that to say that.
Yeah, you don't. One does not simply guess. Guess that. So.
Rockman and Forte. Very nice. Very nice.
There it goes. Rockman and Forte. So I got a couple clips of this game while we talk about it. I've never played this, so I'm just gonna be leaning in on you for everything. Why this game? I feel like it has a really good story from what I've grasped. Like it's not just a game; it's an experience. I sound like a tech CEO right now. It's an experience, guys. But I mean, you tell me.
Yeah. So yeah, like Base Virtuoso said, it came out right after Mega Man 8, which I love Mega Man 8. I'm actually more of a Mega Man X dude. I think Mega Man or Rockman is super corny compared to X. So like, that might be blasphemy to people that were born in the era before me. But for me, Mega Man X is just like the coolest, you know, like
Yeah.
Zero. But Forte was kind of like Mega Man Zero, but like kind of after Proto Man Blues. So like Forte is really dope. Like in Mega Man 9, I believe, you fight against Forte is kind of like the rival that you fight against, you know, that shows up often. And he has this dope ass dog named Treble. And that was kind of like, I remembered that, and then I was on Yahoo Auction, kind of just like buying random Super Famicom games, and I saw this on there, and I was like, fuck it. And I bought it, and I played it, and this was in July 2020. No, this had to have been, yeah, this was June 2022, and I had this was back when I was still in my apartment, and I had wires like crossed all over the place, going from the Super Famicom into my music interface.
Oh wow.
And so I was like, the waves were recording as I was playing the game, because that's how I do it. So like the waves were recording, and then I switched to this like other level, and the music came on. I was like, oh shit, that's fucking dope. Like that sax and like that groove, and I think it was the desert level, and I was like, yeah, I have to flip this. And if I didn't think it would come out great. I was kind of reluctant actually to flip it, because I was like, this might not be, you know, oh yeah, Proto Man's in there. And I flipped it, and it came out really dope, and I've like kind of fixed it a couple different times, and yeah, I laid that solo, and something possessed me, and I was like, damn, like I didn't even know what I blacked out on the solo. And yeah, after that I was like, oh, it's definitely going on there, and definitely one of my favorite tracks on there.
Now you mentioned a couple things just going back. So you own a Famicom, right? You don't have a Super Nintendo. You own a legit Super Famicom, and you got that little your man cave built or whatever, where you have all your retro goods now, and you actually have a collection of games. That's hype. Like I don't own any of my OG consoles anymore. One of my brothers, he does. He actually has a Super Famicom that he's never played, and like a bunch of different games like Dragon Quest and Street Fighter 2 New Challengers. And I'm like, it looks nice. I like how the Super Famicom looks.
It's cool. I actually, I don't know. Like the Super Nintendo is definitely more American. Like I don't know why that is, but it's very like, it's more sleek. It's cooler, you know. Like for Japan, the Super Famicom is, I feel like it's more like a family thing. But Super Nintendo in the States is kind of like a, you know, trying to compete with Sega on like the cool, you know, the cool tip as far as like Sonic being like the be all end all dope shit back then. But I mean, look at like Forte has like, you can even change, you know, like he's not just Zero where he can only use his sword and he does sword versions. Like he has like all the boss mechanics too.
Yeah, I think I tried to get the I think I tried to get the final boss fight here. So if anyone actually wants to play this game, you might want to just listen to the tunes and close your eyes. But yeah, I just wanted to see what this game was about. It looks pretty hype. Like considering that the N64 was already out, we said, what was it, 96, and they're still pumping out games on the Super Nintendo in 1999. Like Nintendo had a lot of love at that time.
This game is beautiful. Like
yeah,
it's really, really like, it looks great. That's kind of how I feel. Like Super Mario RPG was kind of awkward, but I loved how it looked. Nothing else looks like Super Mario RPG.
Yep.
And that's because they were doing, you know, it was later. It was one of the late. I think Super Mario RPG might have been the latest game on the Super Nintendo. So, yeah, man, really, really cool stuff. Like the only thing I hate about Super Famicom is that the controller lengths are like, it's not even a foot. You gotta
Wait,
be like,
is the controller different on the Super Famicom compared to SNES? I
oh
can't
yeah,
remember. Oh yeah. Oh
way
shoot.
different. They have the multicolor buttons,
Oh yeah.
and then the cord is like it's like 6 inches.
Oh, they definitely want you to go blind at a young age.
Super short. Like I can't even play. I can't play it anywhere. Like unless I'm sitting right next to the CRT.
Yeah, that's true. Even well, when they re-released them, they made like the NES and the SNES Classics or whatever. It's the same deal. They make the cable so short, like you can't. Yeah, you can't comfortably play it unless they wanted you to experience what it was like with a Super Famicom or something. But
Right.
yeah, I guess you just had to sit close to the TV, so you didn't have to put the volume loud, and you had your own space, and you don't bother anybody, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you beaten the game yet?
Nah, I never beat it. As soon as I hit that level, I was like, oh, cool.
Oh, who knows? There's probably other tracks on here then.
Oh, I'm sure there are. Like that's why I'm just like, it may never. My work may never be done.
So does that mean there's a Retro 4 on the way?
No, definitely not. I'm just out here excavating stuff, and if something sticks, then we'll roll with it. But at this point, there's no plan for a Retro 4. Like,
You know,
at this point in time.
You know what it is, guys. Like we gotta support Marcus, support all the projects. I'm trying to support enough where we can get a Retro 4. That's my goal. But I know it's a lot of work, and I'm just saying it like it's easy. Like, oh yeah, just take these games that I love and adore so much, just mix them for me, please. Like I'm not saying it like that, but
No. I mean, it's fun. like for me, it doesn't feel like the normal like work and production that I do, but then like it does. Then I start to get like serious about it, and then it ends up taking time from everything else. Where I'm like, shit, like I need to get back to doing like other stuff, and it ends up taking like 6 months to 8 months to do everything, and then then life happens, and account for everything, and you're like a year out from doing anything else.
Well, I think, and maybe if my lore is correct here, but track number 11, June Mermaid, was that the ground zero of, like, was that the patient zero rather of like Retro 3? Was that the starting point? It was, right? Oh yeah, we'll get to that track in a little bit, but I recall we talked about that once upon a time.
Yeah, definitely was.
So
you're right.
So yeah, I mean, after Retro 2, there were secret bosses, and then June Mermaid, you just kind of had laying around. So that's why I was so shocked that you actually had a Retro 3. Like, when you announced it, I was like, no way, this is some weird April Fool's joke, because I thought the secret bosses was really the end, and then, I was like... Alright, well, I guess we'll move into the next game.
Perfect timing. Thank you for playing.
Oh, so the next game is actually... Here, let me play it. Literally, I think I'm also going to have to play this one.
Alright. So, yeah, this one came about because I was playing a shit ton of Capcom fighting game collection.
Yep.
Summer.
Does anyone know this one? So it is on the Capcom Fighting Collection, recently launched. Who knows? I mean, if you're looking at the screen in a couple of seconds, they'll be up there. It's a good one. Still got time to guess. Yeah, Red Earth, Oshawott got it again.
Nice.
So this game launched '96, obviously by Capcom, and it was the first CPS3 game. So Capcom Play System 1, you had stuff like Street Fighter 2 World Warrior Champion Edition, and then when they were moving into New Challengers, Street Fighter 2 New Challengers was pretty much like their test of what they can do on CPS2. So this game right here was the test of what can be done on CPS3. I mean, you look at this intro to the game, and you can see like it's a huge upgrade graphically compared to the processing power of CPS1, CPS2. So this game has very interesting visuals, interesting music, very interesting characters. I guess there's two downfalls of this game is there's only 4 characters. I mean, take it for what it's worth. I guess if you want to play it competitively, it's easy to learn because you don't have to learn many matchups. You can count them all on your hand. And then the second part, which I'll show you guys now, is you have to input a code to unlock your moves.
Yep. It's an RPG fighting game.
Oh shoot, I'm not even configured. Hold up. I'll try to play it a little bit, but yeah, if you want to talk about this selection here.
Yeah, so I was playing this in the summer. This one and Antihero were the first 2 that like after June Mermaid, which is right around the same time too. These were the first 2 that I did. And I did these like one right after the other. And this was like, we were moving out of our place, so I didn't have much left, and everything was kind of like dwindling. Like my house was starting to look empty. And it was summer in Japan, which is always kind of like a crazy time because it's super hot. But Fighting Game Collection came out, and I was playing a ton of Hyper Fighting, and then Puzzle Fighter, and then also like I had seen Yaya and Matsun, who are 2 of my friends, Street Fighter players know them. They were playing this at an arcade called Matt Mouse that has recently, or kind of about 2 years ago, went under. And they were playing this, trying to do like a clear of it on stream. And I was like, damn, this is really dope. This is like, kind of RPG-ish, but still fighting game, and the characters are dope. I'd never seen anything like it. So yeah, I was playing this, and I heard Tabasa's theme, and I was just like, yeah, that's a sample. It's crazy because like anywhere you go, you can kind of like, whether it's a record or it's anything, when it's like it's a break or a sample, like you can tell right away. And this one was like, it's like, yeah, this shit is really dope, and the texture of it's really cool from the CPS3. So
yeah, what do you think they were inspired by, like with their music style? Like what were they? I mean, and obviously there's no one's really gonna know, right? But like, what were these guys thinking when they were making this game from your point of view? Damn, this guy's hard to beat. No.
This game was pretty tribal, I feel like, but then there was some synth stuff. Yeah, but mostly like kind of carnal, like tribal, kind of primal rages feel. But overall, definitely like Japanese kind of fighting game, classic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been daunting to make because Capcom had to make something that did not feel like anything else that they've ever done. So,
Right.
like, that's why this is like not as timely. This looks like like I'm in Lord of the Rings right now. Like,
Yeah.
they had to really make a game look, feel, sound as different as they could have possibly made it. And yeah, like they did a great job with Red Earth, known as Warzord in Japan.
Right.
And also known as me getting bodied on stream. How's it going, yesterday?
Kenji's low tier, so you're all good.
Look, now I gotta memorize these passwords. I like how you can't even read the word password. They're just like, there it goes.
Yeah, sword upgrades after like level 20. The bosses are crazy though.
Is there still a bit of a competitive scene online with the 35th now?
There is.
Fighting Collection.
That and Fight Game. Like I was playing on a Fighting Game Collection, and I'd get a match like every probably like 10 minutes for this one, and mostly hyper fighting. But I was queued for both. But this one would come up every now and then. I got to the point where I was kind of like, beating people on fighting game collection because I was watching Fightcade replays and stuff and trying to figure out what to do with. And I played top tier, which is rare for me. But Leo, I'm like out of 4 characters, like, and I play Ken, in 2X. I'm like, I'm not playing Kenji.
I mean, the way I see it is like you're not really picking top tier. You're just picking one of the characters that's in the top 4. Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
He's also a bottom 4 character.
There's 3 characters. There's 3 characters that are S tier, and then there's one that's B.
Yeah. It's very interesting tier list. But yeah, I mean, so you mentioned this game does have a bit of a niche competitive scene. And I was hoping it would definitely pick up more with this Capcom Fighting Collection because it's nice to be able to finally give this a chance. Like I never saw this at an arcade growing up in New York. You'd never see this.
Definitely not.
Oh, yeah, I have no moves.
That's why I was so like like spellbound when I saw Yaya and Matsun playing it because I was like, I've never seen anything like this. This is a fighting game because I have Shadow of Mistara, what's it called? Dungeons and Dragons RPG game for the CPS2, and I love that game, and that's what this kind of looked like.
It also has that like a movie feel, like this the widescreen with the black bars, and like definitely. You said, it's an RPG fighting game. The first and last of its kind. Well, I guess Dragon Ball Z, they also did some type of RPG fighting game, I think, on the SNES.
Right.
Any last words about this one before we jump into the next one? And sorry, guys, when I planned this, I thought that we were just going to talk about each track for maybe 5 to 10 minutes and keep it moving, but it's just kind of like, it's cool just to watch and listen, so it might be a little bit longer, and we're already at Big Apple for Marcus. It's 3 a.m. where you're at.
That's true. We'll try and keep it moving, keep the pace going through these next ones. But if the conversation gets interesting, then we'll roll with it.
Yeah. All right. So our next one, what do we have? Okay. All right. Next one's an interesting one. So let me play it first. See if anyone knows where this is from. This is called, is it Last Man Standing?
Yep.
Yeah, Last Man Standing. Alright, Oshawott is stumped. And you all should be. No, I'm not going to say you all should be, but this is a party game, but also a competitive game. And it's not one that survived amongst its fellow brother games. And here it goes. And now you guys know. Yeah, Brawl. So I'll talk a little bit about Brawl, and then I know a little bit, but this game came out on the game? No, well, it came out on the GameCube first, right? No, that was
came out on the Wii.
Yeah, it came out on the Wii. Yeah. So this came out on the Wii, 2008, obviously by Nintendo, and it's a part of one of the most competitive game series globally, but this one in particular was not as well received because of a few reasons. So we're talking gameplay wise, like they try to introduce a lot of mechanics that made it more random and less competitive. So this game kind of died, which is why I think some people wouldn't remember this track. But obviously, like a big upgrade visually compared to Melee, and a bunch of characters got added. You can see here in the intro, and I think the video that I went with after this intro is a tournament match. But
nice.
So we had to still keep it on brand as a fighting game stream, kind of sort of. But this will be the only time that you guys will see Brawl on the stream. You'll never see Brawl again. Up to you now, Marcus. So why Last Man Standing?
So, man, this was way back in Seattle. when I found this track. I think it was 2014, maybe 2015. But we had to have been playing like the actual Brawl at that time. And yeah, like I don't even remember. I smoked a lot of weed like that, like late at night, and would play like old video games. And I remember going back and finding Brawl, and I think I went through like the options menu, just just some high shit, and I listened to like went through the sound test, and there was like a piano version, and I think it was like an option menu somewhere. But yeah, I heard it and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And at that time, I was still heavily doing like a lot of the piano bass kind of jazz, hip hop, chill hop kind of stuff. So yeah, I stored it in the memory bank, and I actually have a handwritten note on my desk right here that says like SSBB piano version menu, whatever. So I ended up finding it again, and I flipped it, and then Gerson played guitar and bass over it, gave it the live feel, and yeah, I love it. Call it Last Man Standing for obvious reasons, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this song can go with like so many different themes. It's got the hero feel, but then
Yeah.
it can also just be like an intro to a game or a movie or a cutscene. It's dope.
Yeah, and it doesn't, like the menu, it's pretty like recognizable. So they do the piano version. It doesn't even sound like the character select screen.
So I guess I wonder if Ultimate had that. I never really played Ultimate. I probably played it like twice, but yeah, I wonder if Ultimate has that, where you can go from traditional to like piano or arranged or whatever the audio
Yeah.
wording
Yeah.
is. Yeah, but
I think it does.
that's neat. I mean, yeah, you got to think about like the power of these games, right? Like the Smash Brothers took all the characters that we grew up with and threw them in one game. So when Smash 64 came out, you're like, what? You can pick Captain Falcon. You can play with Jigglypuff, and then this game comes out, right? Because Melee, yeah, they introduced a bunch of characters, but Brawl comes out, and what? You got Solid Snake? You got Sonic the Hedgehog? You got, like, it was crazy. I remember this game was so crazy when it came out. Like, it was just, everyone was talking about it. So I lived in a city at the time, and they were doing, Best Buy was doing a tournament for the launch, and the line for the tournament, this was in the middle of winter. I lived like a few blocks from there. This was at the time on the Best Buy on Broadway and Houston Street, and the line was just going like around the block just to get in and enter the tournament. So I was just like, nah, I'm good. But yeah, this game just changed everything. It was a huge, not competitively like compared to Melee, but just all the added stuff with the music and the visuals and the characters. Like, this game was insane. It just didn't live too long because competitively it just wasn't all there.
Isn't Meta Knight like banned too?
Yeah, so at one point this character that you see here, played by Mewtwo King, he got banned and then unbanned. But I think people just unbanned him because like this game is kind of Kuso. Like, this game is actual Kuso. So his tornado move is pretty spammable, and then his up B has like no recovery. So he could just do it. He could just do it out of anything. And
like, I remember I was taking money from kids at school playing this. Yeah, like there were people that were, and I was definitely playing Meta Knight just because he's my favorite character. Like, I love Meta.
So you've been picking top tiers. You got top tier Red Earth. You got top.
I had no idea. I had no idea that he was top tier, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is easy, man." Like, but yeah, good game though. I mean, I think that Smash Brothers. I feel like kids nowadays are really spoiled with how many characters from like crossovers that they get to see. Because like it was just unheard of to have this many characters from different games all in one game, and the original Smash Brothers did that, and that was pretty cool. But it's kind of overwhelming now, where it's just like, damn, everything is just like a promo opportunity. It didn't feel like that, like when the original Smash Brothers came out, because it was all Nintendo characters. But now it's kind of just like, who's gonna premiere next, and how much money do we have to pay for the DLC to get them?
I think Oshawott is gonna be the next character. Put Oshawott in the next Smash Brothers game. I mean, at this point, they even have what? They got Terry, they got Ken and Ryu, they got Kazuya. They just need what? Scorpion, and call it a day,
Right? Mortal Kombat it up.
Yeah, there's no fatalities. All right. All right, let's jump into the next one. Spoiler alert: Mewtwo King wins. So, all right, I'm gonna throw on the next one here. This is called Young Knight Lion's Theme. Wait, did I mix? No, I'm good. I got this one right. Yeah, I got this one right. I just got confused because of the previous game. All right, so Young Knight Lion's Theme. Who knows this one? Before I switch to it. Switching. The release. Yep, released in 1994 by Sega, and this is the specifically the Sega Saturn port. So, what was the difference between the arcade and the Sega Saturn? Because I know this one you went specifically with Sega Saturn, right?
Right. I actually bought the Sega Saturn on Yahoo Auction so that I could sample this game, because like I had this one in the chamber for years too. I love this game. I played this at my friend's house all the time, and I always pick Lion.
Top tier?
Is he top tier?
No, I don't know.
You gonna out me as a top tier or?
Ken was top tier the whole time.
Right. I liked Shun too. He was a funny dude. But yeah, Lion I always played as, and then his theme was just like the fucking coolest. It's got that 90s like house, underground house vibe to it, and it took me a long time to actually be able to have like the, I guess, musical prowess to flip it, because like I was never that good. Like I wasn't good enough to handle this sample back then, like back on Retro 1 or Retro 2, but this time I was like, alright, let's try it again. And I kind of flipped it unorthodox, and just filtered everything out, because it's a really difficult sample to work with because there's a ton of shit in it. And they even have like the bass, the slap bass.
Which reminds me of like one of those like kung fu / cop movies from the 90s.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
I'm trying to pinpoint like one or like I don't know. Yeah, one of those like cop / crime kung fu, like in America, like not like overseas. Like,
yeah, it's got that like that. The 90s definitely has the like that synth, like the synths in this song were popular in the 90s, and they tried to emulate them on this game. So that's why it sounds like that. But house records were using them, like lots of different stuff, soundtracks. So, but yeah, it's kind of. I was happy that it came out pretty well. Like I replayed the bass and everything, and just kind of went kind of funny with it, like overly exaggerating the bass, like slap bass, slapping the bass, man.
Yeah, let's just slap bass. All right. So what about because I'm not as familiar with Virtua Fighter. For me, Virtua Fighter is a bit of the cult classic of the old school fighting games because at that time there was you played Street Fighter or you played Tekken or Mortal Kombat, right?
Right.
But then
Right.
also there was Virtua Fighter, there was DOA, but when it came to like the 3D games, I feel like Tekken was the one to trump them all. Now I remember that the arcade version and the console version, the songs would be completely different. What was the case for this, if you know, for like Virtua Fighter arcade slash console?
I wish I knew, but I was just a casual, like little kid that heard this song on the Sega Saturn version and was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I never played it again after that. But that song always stuck in my head. So I don't know much about Virtua. I mean, I know a lot about Virtua Fighter, but not like the lore history of it really. But Virtua Fighter 2 was like that was my shit.
I mean, no, it looks cool. It looks alright, and it sounds good. So
Mhm.
this was we're at the halfway point of Retro 3. That's what I should ask now. Is there a rhyme and reason to the way that you order the tracks on your album? So like, is there a significance for this being, you know, in the first half, or kind of just like, just whatever makes the most sense?
Um, I tried to go with kind of like, I mean, obviously the first track it's like a, you know, it gets your attention.
Yeah.
And then second track, I guess. Yeah, I mean, like it just got a flow to it, you know, like there's energy that goes up and down, and then goes back up, and then finally ends with the down. But I feel like that's interesting, you know, as far as like a listener. I tried to approach it as like a listener instead of like an artist. And what, you know, like what are my favorite tracks? Not necessarily like that, but what are tracks that are gonna be that you want to hear, you know, one after the other, where you don't get like tired or feel like, oh, another one of these, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's why I was asking, because you mentioned that this one was kind of the more daunting one of the six so far to flip. Like this is the one that you were kind of the most hesitant on. So you're like, all right, let me just throw it somewhere dead smack in the middle, you know?
Right, right. And this
Um,
was kind of like the halfway point, because then after this is the warm up track, and that was kind of like the cool down point. So I had to like warm it back up, you know.
all right, let's get to that the warm up track. So switching games here. All right, this is warm up. Does anyone know this one? I mean, you can see that the screen slightly changed, which means that I have a game I can play again. So it kind of narrows down the console. Who's got this one?
I feel like the sound's really easy to tell, but not necessarily which game it came from. Which I don't know if there is like a. There's one that I, you know, used it from. Yeah.
Well, there's the answer right there. Yeah, so maybe some people were thinking it, they knew the franchise, but couldn't quite get it. So this is from 1995 release, Kirby's Avalanche. Now, I feel like there is like a million Kirby games. Like I can't get over how many Kirby games there are, and I don't think I've ever really played this one. I played the one that has all the different mini games. What was it, Kirby Superstar or something?
Superstar. Yep.
Yeah. But I never played this. It just looks like Puyo Puyo, so I will.
Yeah, definitely Pio Pio.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just play and.
If
Yeah.
you go to practice, that'll play the actual song.
Oh, that's dope.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's why it's warm up. That makes sense.
Right.
I'll try to play.
Yeah.
I'm pretty alright at puzzle games, fellas.
Eggman's Beam Machine. Yep.
Oh, they also
They're
put
all
that.
Pio Pio.
They also put that Eggman game in no, Puyo Puyo in that Sonic game that released recently.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, what was it called? Who knows? Sonic. Damn it, I forgot the name of it right now. But it was like it's on Steam, and like when you get to the second stage, you have to end up like fighting Robotnik and Puyo Puyo. Kind of funny.
I love this game. My
Yep.
mom's a big puzzle game fan too, so we play this a lot together.
What's your puzzle tier list? This is hard. Puyo Puyo is actually one of the more satisfying puzzle games to watch though, because there's a lot of
Yeah, it is.
it's a simple strategy, but like in high level, I watch high level Puyo Puyo, and this game is
It's
pretty
crazy.
intense.
They just it's like they just set up like a
The combo.
yeah, like the entire combo. The chain reaction just goes all the way to the top. Set it off with like a fuse. And it just goes all the way down. I've never gotten to that level. Gotten pretty good at it though, but like not to that level.
I mean, I got those now though. I'm getting there.
Oh yeah, there you go. See,
Uh,
that's gonna be a big one. Yeah, you got the red.
Yeah, you kind of got smoked right there.
Yeah, you got bodied. Dang, Poppy Brothers Senior is sweating over there.
Yeah, shout outs to
The best part about this game with those voice actors, Poppy Brothers Senior. They do like some great wispy woods. I remember all of them doing. Man, they were clowning on that shit. They had some of the craziest voice actors.
you know, I feel like Nintendo, given how many games came out, like how many Kirby games are coming out at this time, I feel like they had so many projects that were they're just incomplete. Like they were just sitting on it. They probably had like a dozen
Yeah,
more
sure.
Kirby games lined up, but they were, limited on what they can select. So they just ended up going with, what we have here. Because the Kirby genre, there's no real genre. It's a platformer, it's a puzzle game, it's mini games, it's everything. So yeah, they could have made a Kirby fighting game, which I guess they eventually did with
Kirby is like
Smash
water.
Brothers. Yeah, Kirby's water. Be water, my friend. Alright, I'm probably not gonna beat this stage. We'll jump into the next one. I think if I give away the title, people will know. So I'm not gonna do the title. Instead, I'll just play it. The title, the dead giveaway. Sonic Mania. Thank you for that. Was the other one. That was that Sonic game I was talking about.
Oh, that has Eggman's beam machine.
Yeah, it's like the second or third stage. Just a mini game. It's just when you confront Robotnik, he goes, "Oh yeah, let's play." Yeah, I'm surprised no one's called out this one yet. There it goes.
Yeah, man.
This is one of Azroy's favorite games. I know he was excited to hear this one.
Nice.
Yeah, talk to me. Wave Race 64. What about it?
Wave Race, man. What else is there to say about it? I mean, it's got to be one of the best Nintendo 64 games ever made.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
It was supposed to be just a way to sell like Kawasaki jet skis, but like this shit went way above what it was supposed to be and took on a life of its own. And the music, man, like everything about the music is just like sick ass like 90s J-pop, but it's like it's 90s J-pop, but it's all influenced by like 70s and 80s city pop is what we call it now. And it's composed so well, like arrangement, everything about it is just really like
Well, I mean,
really well done.
I guess this whole thing was just a really big commercial, then, right? Like you just mentioned,
Yeah,
so
supposed to be.
so they had to make sure that the music was, super top notch, because this is a This is an advertisement. This is a played,
Yeah,
not a paid advertisement, a played advertisement.
exactly. But then you get like, you know, like all the secrets that are available in the game, like dolphin, like seeing the orca whales and stuff. Like everything about this game just has, it's just cool, man. Like the stunt mode, time attack mode, like everything about it is just really cool. I played this game a bunch with my dad. My dad was a huge fan of this game, so he was actually pretty happy to hear the flip too.
Oh,
He's like,
sick,
I
you
know
remember that?
that one. I know that one. He's like, what's that from? I know that one.
That's how you. Yeah, I mean, again,
Definitely
like,
so good.
again, because we already had a racing game on here, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
with the snowboard kids, and then you jump to this, but then we also talked about Mario Kart. Like, how did Nintendo just pump out so many different types of racing games at this time? They're all different. Like this makes
Yeah, man.
because one thing that's really hard to get right in video games in general is water stages, because water stages are typically covered by really good music. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the gameplay might not be the best, but the music will be nice. Unless you're Sonic and you're about to drown, and the music just gets loud and annoying. Yeah, whoop, whoop. Yeah, but this game did it right. They made water stages look hype. They made it look dope,
Yeah.
and then they didn't sacrifice the. Oh, whoops. I guess my editing skills here weren't the greatest, but they also made it sound great. And like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is definitely one of the hype early launch games of the N64 that everybody had.
Yeah. Yeah. I played this at my auntie's house, and that was at the very beginning. I feel like it almost came with the N64. Hydro Thunder was the movie theater game for me. Played that at the movie theater every time I went. Hydro Thunder.
What's up, Doc? Yeah, this game has pretty impactful OST, and again, like, just visually, like, this looks. I'm having fun just watching this.
Right.
This looks so cool. Man.
Welcome to Sunny Beach.
And I did have. I'm pretty sure I also clipped footage of the dolphin, but it's gonna be way later. I don't know if we'll get to it as we're cutting into this, but yeah, man, Wave Race 64, definitely a good flip to have, and I think everyone gets the nostalgia feels with this game for sure.
For sure. And I actually replayed this one, so it's not even a sample from the game. I replayed everything on my synths and the Rhodes, EP Rhodes, Fender Rhodes piano.
For all
for all the audio heads out there, a lot of this stuff is actually replayed. This Dire Dire Docks, the Kirby Avalanche joint, a couple others.
So what's like a timeline? And this question is like a terrible question because there is no timeline like for how long it takes to make a track, right? Like, but for these kind of mixes, like in general, like how long would it take? You can keep it secret if you want, but like,
Yeah,
I'm just curious because
this one, like replaying everything took me a long time. I think I started at one point, and then I played just that lead synth part, and I hated how it sounded, so I went back, did it again, and then I spent like the whole day where I was just like, all right, I'm gonna do this, and then it started to flow, and I was like, fuck yeah. And it probably took me like 6 hours, I think, of like straight, work. And then other ones, they're pretty like, sometimes they'll be quick, but then like the mixing will take a long time or something,
Yeah, because I remember watching your stream, and like one of your streams, you were doing a mix, or you were creating like an original track, and you had your I forgot the name of the software that you were using, and just like getting the first couple of seconds of the track right, you were going back into it and back into it for pretty much like
Yeah.
the entirety of the stream, and I was like, yeah, this stuff takes a lot of work. It's not like you just take a sound and it makes sense. Like all the other sounds that are accompanying it has to be stitched properly and tell the story, right? Like, so it
Right.
kind of opened up my eyes and ears to that kind of stuff. But
And I'm OCD when it comes to certain stuff, so I'll just go back and do it like over and over and over again, so it's perfect. So there's not much stuff. Like some people are like, hey, did you know this is in that? I'm like, yeah. Like, you know, I only listened to it like 2,000 times, you know, like if it's in there and it's released, I know it's in there, you know. Don't quote me on that, you know, for future like legal questioning, but you know.
all right, well all right, this next one's gonna be pretty hype. So let me first play it. So we're up to track number 9 right now. For anyone that's coming in a little bit later, well, also just good morning to everyone, whether you're in Japan or still in the Pacific West. But Voices of the Past. All right, yeah, someone already got it. Someone
Right
already
off
got
the
the
bat.
song. Yeah.
Of course, the man himself who plays 9 all the time.
Final Fantasy 9. This question is gonna come up. It's gonna come up. What is your favorite Final Fantasy game?
It's 4 and 6.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, I know you're
don't-
OG. You're OG.
yeah, 4 and 6, but then like after that, definitely 9, and then 10, and then 8.
I feel like 7 doesn't
no,
exist to you.
after 9 and 10, and then probably 5, and then 8, and then yeah, anything after that besides 7, 3, 2, 1, whatever. And then I don't like. I only count 1 through 10 because that's the only ones that are actually Final Fantasies. After that, it's like Squeenix stuff because
Squeenix.
Sakaguchi left and Uematsu left, and it's not Final Fantasy without Sakaguchi and Uematsu. So, yeah, 1 through 10, I definitely like 1 through 10 is 4 and 6. I can't really tell like which ones, you know, I pick above. I don't pick either one above them because they're both like equally shaped who I am as a person. So like 4, 6, 9, 10, 5, 8, and then 1, 2, 3 are kind of like really underdeveloped, so I also don't really count those, to be honest. But then like, yeah, 7's got to be like of like the present day stuff. Like 7's probably definitely last for me.
Yeah, I remember like 7. So my oldest brother was the one that did the RPGs. I would just backseat. You know, I would go on GameFAQs and try to find out how to get through stuff while he was playing, right? And yeah, Final Fantasy 7, everybody loved the game. 3-disc game. Oh my god, cool story, whatever. Right? Like that was just a shit until 8 came out. 8 came out and it got all like emo goth and like whatever like that look, and it's like holy crap, yo, Final Fantasy 8 and it's 4 discs. Awesome. And then it was a while until this one came out. So what year did let me see. So Final Fantasy 9 released in 2000. So 23 years old now, this game, and it still holds up. And it has that like that medieval feel, right? Because Final Fantasy 8 it felt more like it's futuristic or like edgy. I don't know the best word to describe it. And then this kind of like took it back. So I think between 8 and 9 in my childhood, I just feel like a lot of people had mixed opinions, but for the most part, this game, and it's because just everyone loved 8. Like everyone really loved 8. So when this came out, I was just like, wait, what happened to Squall? Like that look? Like why does this gotta look so old school? But when you play it, like when I watched my brother play this, I was just like, yeah, this game is sick. And yeah, another 4-discer, so you got your money's worth.
Yeah, I mean, like Final Fantasy 8 was really cool because like it was more grown up, you know, like it was it had a lot more like adult themes, and it was slow burn more so than like any other game. I felt like at that time, which made a lot of people hate it too, but a lot of people love it. I love it. I mean, I also like 7. Like, I'm not. It's you can't really be in reality and say like 7's a bad game. It's not a bad game. It's just not as good as everybody hypes it up to be, and it's not as good as the amount of money that Squaresoft and now Squeenix has put into like it being like their flagship, like synonymous with Final Fantasy. Because there's so many other games that are way better. Um, so it's kind of unfair to the game because it's always going to be like that golden child that can do no wrong for them. But yeah, as soon as we went into like the PS1 stuff, like polygons and everything, like 9 was definitely the best to me, and I think is arguably the best game in the series. I actually think it's Sakaguchi's favorite game that he also said he believes is the best game. But Final Fantasy shaped like who I am as a human being. Like if it wasn't for Final Fantasy and the composer, I wouldn't be making music today. I wouldn't be living in Japan. I wouldn't be pretty much anything that I am. So my life would be on a completely different trajectory without Final Fantasy. And I started out with 4, 2 in the US. So yeah, like the music holds a really special place in my heart. Actually, because of that, I try not to use it in retro, because of the fact that I think the music's already perfect, and I don't really want to change it.
Right, you want to be able to do it justice, right? You're like,
Yeah, and it's
yeah,
really hard to do that because it's already perfect in my mind. So I love Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross too. Like Chrono Trigger, it actually goes Final Fantasy 4 and 6 and Chrono Trigger are like all on the same plane for me. But yeah, Final Fantasy 9 is really cool because they went back to like the medieval stuff after being like kind of steampunk for a little while.
steampunk. Yeah, that's a good way to describe that. It's just like, what is it, like edgy? But yeah, steampunk.
Yeah, and it was really edgy, and I liked them going back to like Zidane, who's not as like edgy. He's happy. He's the classic, epic hero that's like, we got this shit. Like we'll figure out how to do it somehow. But then he has his moment of, kind of breaking down and being like, maybe I'm just a fraud, But then all the people that he's inspired up to that point come back to him and give him, they reciprocate like that inspiration back to him. And they're like, it's okay to, be down on yourself sometimes, but like that's the whole point of like, the Final Fantasy kind of like themes of like friendship and camaraderie, and like love and things like that, is it brings it back to, that's what I think was so cool about 9 and why it stands out from the rest, is that like you could see that in the themes, and it was kind of like a homecoming for the franchise. So that's why I love 9 so much. And then 10 was really good in my opinion. Like 10 was just epic. So
Well, 10 was on PS2, right? So this was the last
right.
PS1 version. Also, just FYI, I found a video on YouTube that upscaled and made like a high definition intro. So this is like the intro playing, but in HD. I never saw it until I looked it up recently when I was putting this together. So you guys can check this out.
yeah, like Cloud and Squall are like, like brooding. Why is the world so painful? And it's like,
yeah.
it's like Zidane has gotten past that, and he's like, yeah, like of course the world's fucking painful. Like everybody knows that shit. Like, but you can either decide to, let it destroy you, or let it, take you over, or you can kind of, acknowledge the fact that it's terrible and try and do things within your, your circle of what you can control to try and change those things. And like that's what was super cool about him, even though he was more cool silent type. but he was still cool enough because he was like, "Yo, like we got this. Like we're good. You know, we can do it."
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of your character. Like that's who you are. I mean, not that you're complaining, oh no, the world's
Nah,
up, but like you know, you're very realistic about how things are, and you still want to make the best out of everything.
I'm way too cynical to be Zidane, man. Like I don't even know who I'd be. I'd probably be more like Kane or Cecil or somebody. I don't know. Cecil or Kane. Yeah, Kane was pretty. He was pretty cynical. He kind of he he knew the world was a shitty place.
Or Zidane was the Riz, the Riz Reaper of Death. Man, I hear people say the Riz like is that a typo? I'm like, oh, that thing, like that new
Yeah, that
meme word.
new that new slang, man. That TikTok slang.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I have Riz has a son.
Yeah,
Uh,
Riz got a kid. He's obviously got the Riz. Tella. I love Tella. Spoony Bard.
all right, fellas, we're gonna jump into the next one now.
Shadow's my favorite. Shadow's my favorite character. Kane's my favorite character, and then Shadow got to be second for sure.
All right, loading up track number 10. Dire Docks. I remember my first time playing this game. I got so salty. But I remember I can absolutely pinpoint my first time playing not just this game but this console. And
Yeah.
you know, we're not gonna have much time to talk about this one because we're gonna speed run it. So this is the 0-star world record playthrough. So whatever
Nice.
you whatever you want to say, get it off your chest now, because this is some Super Mario 64 we're talking about. That's right, yesterday.
So yeah, I mean, I replayed everything on this. This isn't sampled. I had the music up. I was fucking around with it, and then I recorded part of it, and then I ended up spending the entire day, like from 1 p.m. to like 2 a.m. At night, playing everything, doing all the synth parts, and then I actually waited till Black Friday to get a half off deal on this certain sound that I wanted, and that was the only part that I left open for the rest of the time. And then I added like the little double time drum break to give it like that feel that the original track has after it goes through one run through. And yeah, man, I love this track. Every water level I kind of gravitate toward, but Dire Docks is very cool. Jolly Roger Bay scared the shit out of me as a kid. So,
Yo, this
big
dude
fan.
is hella breaking the game right now, by the way. So
Yeah,
this game is, you know, it's had quite a bit of notoriety. Of course, like to go from Super Mario 1, 2, 3 World, and then this, like you mentioned earlier, that this was like the first open world Mario game, and it's insane, right? I mean, you think about today, like
yeah.
this was so. I'll just bring it back to my first time playing this. So it was at a Toys R Us, and was it Bay Ridge, Brooklyn? Right? There's that Toys R Us there by the water. I forget the exact place. So if anyone's from Brooklyn, you guys will know if you grew up there. And they had a couple N64s lined up, and you had to wait on a line to play. Right? Finally, it's my turn. I'm playing. It's my first time holding an N64 controller, and these two guys next to me. Well, they were kids, but they were like older. They were like definitely like early 20s or whatever. Like, oh, just go over there and like, you just jump. I was like, okay. So like I was on like something like this, right? Well, it's early in the game, and so I jump off and I die, and they're like, my turn to play. My turn to play now. It's like,
Yo.
you asshole. I got so
Kids are
pissed.
shitheads.
Yeah, but me being, a little bit of a nice guy, I was like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have fell for that. So here you go. So it was a bit daunting, and because of that, I've never actually finished playing this game, believe it or not. But yeah, this game has a huge speedrunning community. There's a million different ways of beating the game. You're looking at a bunch of the glitches now, and I think this world record for 0 star is like 6 minutes long. So you still got 3 minutes to say your piece about this game.
All right, I'm gonna say my piece in there with the link. There you go. Anybody interested in copping the new? It is available only on Bandcamp and my website right here, which is Bandcamp. Links to Bandcamp from Friday until this coming Friday. So for 1 week, it's available exclusively on Bandcamp. After that, it'll be on all DSPs. But we got CDs, we got cassettes. Might be something else in the works soon. Maybe you heard it here first.
Yes, I could use another vinyl in my new vinyl collection. Just saying.
We'll see about that one.
Yeah, I know. We already talked about what production looks like. Yeah,
I'd love to do that though. But yesterday was a Bandcamp Friday, and thank you. I think I actually saw your purchase. So shout out to Bass Virtuoso and everybody else who copped SNES Day. B-Boy Cyclone, everybody in the chat here from my Discord and stuff. Thank you, all of you, for supporting and stuff. You always do, but it's nice to see that you guys dig the new album, and yeah, thank you all for the support so far.
So, what's the best way, to continue supporting? Because, for me, my goal is, and not just the retro beat, just all of your music. I just want to get it in more people's hands, right? So, what can I do to help with that?
Man, it's just word of mouth, really. I know people who play my stuff on their streams, and more people, people will be like, "What is this?" And just having a link or something that helps a ton. And obviously buying on Bandcamp is the best way to support artists, because Spotify and digital streaming platforms, they pay artists not even pennies. So if I get 10,000 streams, that's not even as much as somebody buying a $7, $10 album, so off of Bandcamp. So that always helps a lot more. And buying merch, man. If you buy merch, that helps a ton. Plus, then you got someone to show for it. If the internet died tomorrow, or we had some crazy EMP or some shit, you still probably wouldn't be able to use a CD player, but at least you got someone to hold in your hand, and that, vinyl, that shit's gonna last a lot longer than anything else. I mean, if you look at the projects that have lasted this long, I'm still out there every single day, really, buying vinyl from the 70s and 80s, and I see vinyl from the 50s, 60s. So
it's incredible that it survives, at this point, generations. It'll go through the family from a great grandfather down to the great grandson, or whatever it may be. It'll go a few generations with the vinyl, and it's physical, and it's nice to have. It has a nice look. But I guess then, for me, yeah, maybe I'll do some more streams in the coming days or this weekend. Schedule's pretty packed, but yeah, I want to do some type of giveaways. So I'll whether it's digital, physical, maybe you just want to think, beat me in ST, and I'll give you. Yeah, but yeah, for me, I definitely want to get this out to more people, and just to preface this with Marcus is a super humble dude. So when I first met him, maybe it wasn't until the second or third trip that I went to Japan where I knew that you make music. So you didn't just come out there and be like, "Hey, I know you're into video games, and I make music, but also make video game music." you didn't share that with me. When I found out, when I found it out about you, I was like, oh shit, I wish I'd known this like before. Like this is super cool. And so you're not one who's like, doing any kind of, and not that there's anything wrong with just letting me know what you do, but it just came as a surprise to me. And but yeah, I want just more people to know about your work. In my
Yeah,
circle
thank
and
you, man.
just wherever.
You know,
So
that's what you're doing right now. To be honest, like this whole stream, like with all the videos and stuff, like this. That's really dope, man, and I appreciate it. And I think that's probably like my hardest, like, thing I need to work most on is like promoting myself. Like I promote myself on Twitter and like social media, but I'm never out there being like, yo, like my shit's dope, check it out, because I just feel like cream floats to the top, and if people are gonna, people are eventually gonna find it.
yeah,
And I guess I don't want people to. I guess I don't want my fan base to be people that I've like evangelized to. I'd rather have them, be like, oh yeah, I found this shit and like I love it, like, or I found this track and I looked up the artist and I found like a bunch of his other stuff, and I feel like that's way more organic. And those are the kind of fans that I want. So, if people find it on their own accord, or if you guys, recommend it to your friends or somebody else, or you post it somewhere, tag me in it. Like I'll repost that shit, because like it always helps if somebody else is saying it as opposed to me saying it myself. So anywhere, Instagram, Twitter, wherever, feel free to post it and then tag me in it. And yeah, that's the best way to help support too.
all right. So we're at the second to last one right now, June Mermaid, and this one is, as we established, kind of like the starting point of Retro 3. This game released in 1998 on the PS1 by Square. Does anyone know what it is before I get into it? I gave a lot of info out there.
Man, that signal the Square published LLC, that was the signal of a good game.
Yep, Once Upon a Time. Yeah, Xenogears.
Xenogears.
So I didn't get to run into this game much. I remember Azra, he had like Xenogears 2 or 3 or one of them on it wasn't on the PS1 though. I feel like it came out on a later console, but yeah, tell me about June Mermaid.
Yeah, I mean Xenogears, Squaresoft Golden Era. This one was actually composed by Yasunori Mitsuda, who actually did Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. He's like, he did everything on Chrono Trigger, but he basically pushed himself to like humanly limit, as a lot of Japanese workers do, trying to hit deadline, and he almost like killed himself, like from overwork. He wasn't eating, he wasn't sleeping. So Nobuo Uematsu from Final Fantasy stepped in and helped him finish it because he was in the hospital. Yeah, so like Chrono Trigger music it's legendary and epic for a reason, because that guy kind of transfused his soul into the music, and you can hear it. And he did this one too, and there's so much good music. And this one, there's like a point where I filtered out the original track from Xenogears, and I played Roads Over the Top, and I did like a melody line from Chrono Trigger, so like kind of a tribute. But yeah, this was the first track I did. Also from another chill, like relaxing PlayStation 1 YouTube video that I was like, and I love PlayStation games. I love all the old games from PlayStation.
Well, this is
So
right up your
this is the
alley
first
as
Yeah,
like an RPG, JRPG anyway. So this, not
definitely.
surprising that you'd go with this. Now, some of this intro, by the way, would probably get me banned from streaming. So if anyone has seen this intro or the ending of the game, there's just stuff in there that like I was kind of shocked to see how forward they were. So I
Right.
had a well, you'll see what I'm talking about if you didn't see the intro in the chat, but had to cut it out.
Good old Xenogears.
Yeah, what's this story about? Like I actually haven't, like I said, I have no experience with this, but the tunes are fly, but I'm just curious like what it's about.
I mean, it's been a long time for me too, but if I remember correctly, it was kind of like the whole mech kind of starting point for like Xenoblade, Saga, Xenogear Chronicles, like all that stuff. But I really haven't played it in so long that I cannot really give you like a good detailed synopsis on it. But I do remember that it was dope and it had mechs in it.
Yeah, I also like that these Square games, they had their in-game graphics, but then they also had their 3D graphics for their cutscenes and intros and endings, and it's like
Yeah, I mean, look at
legitimately.
this FMV sequence from 1998.
Yeah, this looks like
Like
modern day.
really,
This looks
really,
modern day. Yeah.
really. I mean, that's what I mean. That's why Sakaguchi tried to do the Final Fantasy movie, and then basically bankrupted SquareSoft because he was too ambitious. little Mr. Icarus. I was
Right.
reading that the Final Fantasy Spirits Within movie basically like took a team of like 200 people like 2 years worth of time to like, I mean, I think it was even more crazy than that to do it, and over like $54 million or something, and it went way over budget, and Sakaguchi basically like bankrupted SquareSoft, and that was when they started having money troubles, and they had to like Enix on there with them. And so I love Sakaguchi, but I think that he definitely flew too close to the sun, and that movie wasn't even that good.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
It's hard. Like it's hard to translate. Like movies become games and they're terrible, right? I mean, Home Alone, great movie, or Home Alone 2, great movie. The game, what the hell is even going on? And so
The game, straight to jail.
and then to go from a game to a movie, it must have its own challenges as well. Oh, you can't talk about 90s licensed games. But yeah, like, so you go from the cutscene that we saw before, now you look at the in game, and it's just like, man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But this looks great. Like, there are a lot of indie games or modern games that try to emulate this look, but they really can't capture the texture right. Like,
it's like
it looks like
to go back
overpolished.
and make like 70s soul music. Like Silk Sonic is, you're gonna get close to like that 70s like Motown vibe, but it's never gonna sound exactly like it.
Yeah, this is sick.
Yeah, I'd definitely recommend it. I'm actually thinking about going back and replaying it.
Yeah, it's just the biggest investment in a JRPG is the investment in time, right? Like you're gonna spend a lot of time just powering up and figuring out strategies to beat the bosses. Yeah, I think after this I'll also have the ending as well. But yeah, good looking game for sure, and dope tracks. So that was track 11, June Mermaid. And now we're going to the last one, guys. So it's been a long stream. 2 hours and some change into this, and now we're at the very last game. Who's got this one? This is a dope mix, by the way.
Thank you. I thought it hit perfect.
So definitely like a good way to close this out. Good vibes.
This one actually, I'll wait till see if somebody gets it.
Well, some of the sound effects that are incorporated into it will, yeah, Oshawott got it.
Nice. Yeah, so it's the game over screen for Super Mario World. But this was towards the end when I was moving out of place. And I think all I actually had left was a CRT TV and the Super Famicom. And I was playing Super Mario World from the very beginning. And I ran it all the way from the beginning to the end. And it was just a good like warm blanket of nostalgia. And when I had so many lives that I didn't really, but then like when I did, I heard that and I was like, oh damn, that's like the vibe, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's got a really cool little jingle to it, and the sound chip is just dope. And I added a bunch of, you know, sound effects from it, and yeah, I think it came out pretty dope and perfect for the last track, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to take like just a game over, like end of a game tune and turn it into like something that's a full song, you know, that you can use, because normally those are like pretty short jingles, right? Like,
right. Yeah, that's why I was struggling with it first, but then I was like, all right, we'll just, you know, we'll add some sound effects and that'll keep it interesting, and kind of play with some other effects and, you know, loop it differently and filter it out, and then make it short, you know. It's only 1 minute and 50 seconds, so yeah, I think it worked out pretty well.
and this game, by the way, was so OD. This is hard to play on a fight stick, but yeah, this game was, I mean, you think about Mario 1 to Mario 2. Mario 2 was kind of a weird one. I mean, I guess some people have the opinion that it is actually like pretty decent, but that was kind of the weird one. And then you get to Super Mario 3, where it's like, holy crap, like there's a map, I'm moving all over the world, I'm going through warp pipes, crazy. And then this comes out, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
How'd they do that? And this is, did they call this Super Mario 4? Because like, Super Mario Brothers, or Super Mario The Lost Levels is Super Mario Bros 2 in Japan. So is this like Super Mario Bros 4 in Japan?
I don't know. I thought this was like Yoshi's World or something like that. I don't know. I think no, that might have been.
Yeah, Oshawott. Oh, yeah, this is hard on fight stick. I think my diagonals are missing.
Really, Super Mario Brothers 4. That's crazy.
Yeah, because
almost stop points.
Because Yoshi, because there was the Yoshi things were their own series. Like, so there was like Yoshi's Island 1, Yoshi's Island 2, but yeah.
But I thought it was Super Mario Brothers. Oh, it's called Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, yep. There you go. This is sick. Yeah, this tune. This is cool. This is a cool, like, chill tune that I can see as like if anyone was streaming and they got like their BRB message or their now ending stream, kind of like, yeah, like this is definitely dope.
After I finished this, I was like, oh, I feel like if this got enough, you know, like burn, I feel like there'd be a ton of people on TikTok using this like a sound for the background of like doing anything.
Yeah.
So hopefully that happens once it gets on, but hopefully not, because then Nintendo will probably sue me.
Yeah, the TikTok would be like, when you play a Super Nintendo game on a fight stick.
Yeah. Oh man, TikTok.
Yeah, the Star World is insane. This game is legendary. Probably one of the best just games of all time. Like,
I took my Yoshi to the drive-in, and look what happened.
yeah, TikTok is stupid. Oh shit. Yeah, this is hard. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Sorry guys, I look like a complete scrub, but
Yeah, the Star World. But somebody actually already sampled that, and they killed it. It was the what's it called? Shit, the name Zab or shit. I like to cha-cha.
hold on, where's that stage with the big bullet bill? I guess it was down there
Dram,
on the
I
left.
think it's Dram. I like to cha-cha. Yeah, they got sued for that though, so they took it out and then replayed it. They already had the video up and everything. It had 3 million views, I think, and then Nintendo sued them or something.
That is so whack. Come on.
Yeah, super whack. Nintendo's copyrights, they're terrible. So part of me is like, I hope this project doesn't get big. I hope it just there's a decent amount of people who love it, and
That sucks that you would have to live in fear of, because it's original. It's the same as just making music, right?
yeah. I chose to do what I do, so I'll live with the consequences. But that's not gonna make me stop, because fuck them. Music is for everybody, and if they ask me for I would definitely obviously you should pay people for music that they've made. I just don't fuck with big corporations, and I hate suits. So I'd be happy if give them percentage if they ask for it, but I think they'd probably just be like, yeah, take this down, otherwise we're gonna sue you.
Yeah, shut everything down. We'll start with breaking your thumbs if you don't.
Right. Yeah, they're terrible. But all right, man, I think I'm gonna have to call it. It's 4:10 a.m. here.
Oh yeah, for sure. Do your thing. I mean, I got a 55 here, so I'm good. I think that's a good way to end this one. Yeah, that's a good way to end it. I appreciate you coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So you're good. I'll close it out. I'll let peeps know. Make sure you check out Marcus's latest project, marcusE.net. It's Retro 3. You'll hear it in the background of my streams all the time, and it's free to use, and just support the boy. This is a dope project, and for anyone that's just even into games, or new anyone's into games, you're gonna feel something with these, right? And a lot of love was poured into this. A lot of love was poured into this project and into all the projects, and anytime something new comes out, I'm like, yo, we gotta do something. I just wanna stream it. I just wanna listen. And by the way, guys, I didn't listen to all these tracks. This is my first time listening to these today, except for Return of Retrode. Yeah, the rest of them I might have heard a couple of seconds, but I didn't. I just wanted to enjoy it for the first time with you guys.
That's dope.
And I'll get my cassette and CD in the mail soon, and hopefully there's more to come on that. But
yeah, definitely. We're gonna do a little raffle or something in the very near future.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you all for tuning in, and for all the support and everything. And shout out to Riz for doing this, because I mean, waking up this early on a Saturday to do something that's for literally just for somebody else, and putting this kind of effort and time into the videos and the visuals and Azra, all the extra visuals, and just crazy, man. It's like I said, it's a full-time job, but you make it look easy, which it's not. I know that, so I appreciate it, and I hope everybody else appreciates what you do for them. And thank you all again for supporting, listening, tuning in, and yeah, marcusd.net. All kinds of vinyl, CDs, cassettes, merch, all that good stuff. Shout out to Sean. Hopefully you can make it back out to Japan soon. But in the meantime, yeah, grab that CD, man, or whatever digital copy. But thank you guys for yeah, tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time. Follow me on Twitter too. All my stuff's there, just at MarcusD. And if you're on Instagram, it's at MarcusD_. So yeah, take care and have a good rest of your weekend. And thanks again, Riz. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. We'll catch up soon. You have a good night. And
For sure.
All right, later.
Peace, everybody.
Oh, Sean, you're planning a trip to Japan? Damn, I wish I could go again. Maybe soon. But yeah, I'm also gonna end the stream in a little bit. Let's just see if there's any tournaments going on, and we can just raid someone. But yeah, if you guys are thinking about it, yeah, just support that dude Marcus, man. It's always great to know that like I'm able to help someone out. Oh, vampires, they're doing ST, so it's perfect. But yeah, we'll do more streams, and I'll do some giveaways. I know a couple of you guys are like, oh man, I got it, I'm gonna get it soon, but like I also want to be able to support, so I'll do some blessings on the stream as well. So, you guys enjoy, and yeah, we'll catch up soon. Might stream a little bit later tonight if I do some fighting. Oh, and the Discord as well. But yeah, I might do some streams later tonight where I'm just like playing and listening to the music. So yeah, we'll catch up soon, fellas. And thanks again, Marcus, for taking the time out of your day and night for this joint. I'm gonna head off to Vampire Arcadia. They're running a ST tournament, and I'll catch y'all soon. Peace out.